I'll say I'm Dan McQuade. You can say I'm Don Cosentino. I'll say welcome to Emergency Football Show Weekly. All right.
Come on.
So what we want to talk about first this week is the Steelers' game-winning touchdown catch. You, as a native of Pittsburgh, probably have some opinions on that.
Yeah, you know, it was a terrifically drawn play by the Steelers, well executed to get Antonio Brown the ball there, but it may have been illegal and wasn't flagged. Now, the league said the play was okay. What happened was that Justin Hunter, who's one of the other receivers, took a step forward and threw a block into the Bengals defender who had flared out to guard Antonio Brown on that play. By rule, an offensive player cannot block a defender and impede his path from defending the play beyond 1 yard beyond the line of scrimmage. So it should have been a pass interference call. It wasn't called. The league defended the call, saying that because the Bengals defender put his hands up first, it negated what should have been a pass interference penalty. But there's nothing in the rule book that says anything about a defender putting his hands up first. I think the league was just sort of covering its ass a little bit on that play.
So according to the NFL, they just wanted the Bengals defender to sort of just sit there with his arms down in order to make it not a penalty?
Take the guy covering Antonio Brown was supposed to take the block. If that play had happened within a yard of the line of scrimmage, it would have been fine. But it was clearly beyond 1 yard beyond the line of scrimmage. Probably should have drawn a flag.
Always looking for an edge. I did love the play call, the sort of slant over the middle. Getting away with the penalty is actually probably part of the great play call there.
Right.
One thing we also saw this week was even more bullshit roughing the passer calls, or players avoiding sacking the quarterback in order to avoid being penalized. Could you just explain what the NFL changed in the roughing the passer rule over the offseason, and then how it's sort of been officiated this year so far?
Defenders cannot land on a quarterback as he's tackling him with harmful intent. I don't know what the wording is, but that's the gist of it. It's been a long-standing rule.
You can't drive the guy into the ground.
Right. Yeah. This year, however, they made it an either-or proposition, that if you're hitting him violently or landing on top of him, they changed that one word and to or. And by making it and to or, anyone who falls on top of a quarterback with all or most of his body weight, I think is the way it's phrased, can get flagged. So that's why you have this confusion, because when Clay Matthews did this, to Kirk Cousins back in week 2, he didn't violently land on top of Kirk Cousins, he just landed on him, and so that became a penalty. And then you had Michael Bennett trying to avoid landing on Eli Manning on Thursday night, but was flagged anyway, even because he did land on him. I think the most prominent one this week was Breeland Speaks of the Chiefs, who appeared to have Tom Brady right there for the taking and let him go. Speaks later admitted that because Brady motioned his arm to pump fake, he thought Brady had let go of the ball and he didn't want to get hit with the roughing the passer penalty. I think that's where a lot of the confusion comes in, is that intent is there, but then it's not, and then they're flagging it anyhow. If that makes sense. It doesn't make sense. Right?
It makes a little sense, but it makes like NFL sense. Like,
yes.
It makes sense in the context of like, oh, of course the NFL would make it this complicated.
Right. They over-legislate it to the point where nobody has any idea what to do, and I think defenders, can get wary. And while I do think the league is doing this for somewhat cynical reasons, because they want to drive up scoring, I think eventually you'll see adjustments. There were only 3 roughing the passer penalties this weekend. So.
And before we go, I just want to talk about my favorite thing this week was Dick Stockton calling the Denver Broncos the Denver Nuggets.
The undefeated Rams take on the Denver Nuggets.
He seems to pause before Nuggets, as if he knows he's going to say the wrong team name. I realize he's announced basketball for a while, but yeah, it was great.